Okay, welcome everyone. I'm just going to make a good old stew. It's my chasseur cast iron pot. Absolutely beautiful to work with. I'll just put a bit of oil in there. I'm going to cut up a couple of onions. They don't need to be cut up. This is a stew, remember. Nothing fancy. Chuck them in. You can't tell it's raining again. That's what it's been doing for months. It was raining, which I'll stop complaining come summer when it's 45 degrees Celsius. I'll be wanting the rain. Again, nothing in a stew has to be perfect. I don't measure. Don't ask me for measurements. Don't say how many teaspoons of this and how many teaspoons of that, because I'm not going to tell you, because I don't know. Kitchen is a bit like being an alchemist, I think, back in the early days when you just threw things and things worked out. That's the idea of cooking. I mean, people will follow recipes, but God help me, I couldn't do it. Don't panic, I've been cutting this way for a very long time. I don't know any other way, to be honest. Potatoes I'll cut a bit different, but carrots I always cut this way. Just gives them a nice little shape for your stew. And we're coming to the end of our winter in Australia. So it's still cool, it's still raining, and we've got a warning today for another cold front, which is supposed to get winds up to about 125k. That was supposed to happen last night. I don't think we got above 100, so it wasn't too bad. But then the breaks in winter. What I've got here is a little bit of minced garlic. Just that measurement and a bit more. I mean, people who want to get measurements for their precise cooking, this is the wrong channel. Probably about that much ginger. For me, stews, curries, they're all a case of what's on hand, what's in season. And the bottom line is that there is no rules for curries and stews. It all boils down to your personal taste and flavours. I've got a couple of Spanish chorizos here. They're really, really nice in your stew. Just cut them in whatever shape you like. There's certainly going to be little treats that you'll find in amongst the meat, which is going in there as well. No hard and fast rules. That'll add a nice bit of flavour to the whole stew. And this is all off-grid cooking here. This is just what is called, it's a Kangaroo I've had for years. Gas top with butane, which I'll show you. Just a little tank in there. That does all the cooking for you. You can do this on an open fire if you want to. But when it's 125k winds, I tend not to. I'll give you a look what's in the pot shortly. Not sure what you can actually see. No, you can't see much. Let me move that a little bit. That might be better. So just keep stirring. You've got carrots, onions, a bit of olive oil, a bit of garlic and a bit of ginger in there at the moment. That's just imposing a bit of flavour. Again, there's no rule with me in regards to, exact science to what size. For me, I just tend to just do what works. Tastes good when it's finished, believe me. This is going to be quite a big stew because there's about what's it in pounds? Probably about 3 pounds of meat going in there, or about 1 kilo and a bit, 1.5 kilos. I'll show you that shortly. But like I say, a lot of people fart around with this, that and the other, whereas I've learned to cook when I was real young, and I love cooking. And you'll notice that I'm not taking the skin off the potato because I believe it adds a bit of flavour. It's just me. And these are quite big potatoes, so I might not cut all these up to go in there. Have a look. I might even do it. I put probably 3 large potatoes. That's more than enough at the moment. See if you can see this. That's the meat that's going in. It's just diced beef. I'm pretty sure you can see that. I like to season the beef. You can do it in a pan, but I like to get a bit of a head start. So I'll use just use the salt. Sounds like a lot of salt, but it wasn't, believe me. I could piss faster than that. It says lemon pepper. It's actually just ground black pepper. And I love pepper. Right, we'll just give that. I love these cast iron pots. They really are superb. You just throw them on the campfire. You put them in an oven if you want to. Many ways you can do it. So that's just the meat seasoned with a bit of salt, a bit of pepper. And all that's not quite cooked yet, as you know, but that's okay by me. Like I say, I tend to cook stews and curries along the line of, this is parsley. Yeah, it's that measurement. Figure it out. Slow the camera down. Oh, that must be 3.5 teaspoons. My favourite ingredient. This is just dried shallots. Again, what you build in a stew or a curry is layers of flavour. Paprika, about how much? Beautiful herb, spice paprika. Put those away. This is the last of my dried chives from last year. So I'll put in, put the whole lot in. Line this about. Now any stew that I've ever made, I'm just leaving that meat and the spices on top just for all those veggies underneath to sort of get like a blanket so they cook through. I always use Worcestershire sauce and a few other things, but it's absolutely superb. And how much do I put in? Well, slow the camera down and you might be able to figure it out. It's a beautiful depth to the flavour of any stew. And I'm not sure if we get this in Australia and the UK. It's God's gift to most flavours, HP sauce. Made by the Queen herself, with a few dead corgis thrown into a vat. And no, I'm not sure how it's made, but it is yum. People are going, oh, there's plenty of water in there. What's else going to happen? I'll just grab the chook kettle and we'll just put a little bit in. What measurement? Yeah, slow the camera down, work out the flow rate. I'm sure you'll sort it out. I don't believe cooking is a precise anything, because I'll come back to the stew and I will taste it when it's half done, and I'll think, might need a bit of this, I might need a bit of that. See if I can get this a bit closer for you now. Sure, let me have a look. Yeah, that looks right. Maybe even back a bit. So there's all sorts of goodies in there. At the moment, a lot of people start saying, well, what about other ingredients? Well, there's no panic. There's no panic and there's no deadline. How long does a stew take to cook? Well, till it's done. So what I'm going to do now, you can probably see it's probably just got enough moisture to be near the top of the actual level of the meat and the vegetables. Again, it's not a panic. I'll put the lid on now. It's going to do its magic for probably 10 or 15. I'm just going to show you the flame. I'm going to turn it down to about that. And that's about it for probably, well, the next half hour. I did forget to mention that I was about to put some mushrooms in, and I turned the camera off. Sorry about that. Now these are just wild brown mushrooms, beautiful. You can usually find these around the campsites of failed off gridders. Their carcass starts to rot and mushrooms come up. So they're a great additive, full of protein and nitrogen, and you name it, it's got it. Of course, there's the specialised cutting method again. Whatever works, doesn't really matter. I don't know if you can see this because I'm probably out of camera, but mushrooms, if you're a vegetarian, they're probably your main source of meat substitutes. That soy stuff I avoid like the plague. That's plastic food, soy for plastic people. My opinion. You don't have to like it, and I don't really care if you like it or not. But yeah, loads of mushrooms going into this. There's probably about, I suppose weight-wise in American language, £1.5 or about 400 or 500 gram Australian. So like I say, this is a big stew. This is going to last us 3 or 4 days. We've got some family and friends coming over next couple of days, so a big swag of it will go in there. Like I say, people say, oh, you got to do things a certain way. You don't. There is no law about what you should do. These mushrooms will they'll reduce a little bit in volume, but not much. There'll still be a good indication as to what actually went in there. And then, of course, all those yummy little bits have got to go in. So that now, I'll give that a bit of a stir in a sec. I'll stir that up, close the lid, and come back in 2 cans. Okay, it's been probably, oh, I don't know, an hour. Can't remember, doesn't really matter. But you can now see all the liquid coming out of the vegetables and the meat. There's enough vegetables there now to add what I generally add to a stew all the time, because this is going to cook another hour or more. Doesn't really matter. My grandmother used to have a pot on the stove for weeks at a time. It's pearl barley, and the exact measurement is yeah, that much. Slow the camera down, work out the flow rate. No, it's not that important. You're just adding textures and layers to the flavour of your meal. And that pearl barley, well, that'll just be beautiful when it's finished. Little nutty molecules of grain going through the whole stew. But that's coming up real nice now, and because everything's probably, I don't know, 70% cooked, I'm more than happy to give it a bit of a taste test. That's nice. It's very nice. I forgot to throw a couple of bay leaves in, but it doesn't matter. Well, we're just about done now. It's been cooking probably for about 2.5 hours. Still on very low heat, but it's just magnificent, these cast iron pots. If you got them, definitely use them. Flavour is absolutely superb. Meat's just falling apart, just how I like it. I'll definitely have some crusty bread to go with it. So, homemade bread, homemade stew.